Welcome to MoonNest Stories, where we tell stories that teach good values. Once upon a time, deep in a green and beautiful forest, lived a young elk named Elvin. Elvin was a sweet and gentle elk, but he was also very, very shy. He often stood quietly on the forest path, feeling a little wobbly on his long legs, especially when other animals were around. Today was one of those days. The squirrels chattered in the trees, and the rabbits twitched their noses from the bushes. Elvin watched them, his big brown eyes wide with worry. He wished he could be as bold and playful as them, but his heart felt like a little drum, beating thump 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 with shyness. He lowered his head, wishing he could just disappear into the tall ferns. He felt so small and unsure, as if everyone was watching him, waiting for him to make a mistake. The other animals weren't being mean, but to Elvin, their curious looks felt like bright spotlights. He just wanted to find a quiet corner and be by himself. As Elvin was trying to make himself as small as possible, he saw something a little further down the path. A tiny marmot, no bigger than a pinnacone, had gotten himself into a spot of trouble. He had been playing near a pile of smooth river rocks and had slipped. Now, his little foot was wedged between two stones. He wiggled and pulled, but he was stuck fast. The little marmot let out a tiny squeak of distress. Elvin saw it all. His heart gave a little lurch, not of shyness this time, but of concern. He knew he should help. He wanted to help, but what if he did it wrong? What if he scared the marmot even more? What if all the other animals laughed at him for being clumsy? All these thoughts swirled in Elvin's head, and he just stood there, frozen in place, not knowing what to do. Just then, a mountain goat named Gloria came bounding down the trail. Gloria was known throughout the forest for her confidence. She moved with a spring in her step, her head held high. She navigated the rocky path with ease, leaping from one stone to another without a single wobble. She seemed so sure of herself, so fearless. Elvin watched her in awe. Gloria didn't seem to notice the little marmot's predicament. She was just enjoying her journey through the woods. To Elvin, Gloria was everything he wasn't. She was strong, confident, and didn't seem to have a single worry in the world. He sighed softly, wishing he could borrow just a little bit of her bravery. Seeing her made his own fear feel even bigger, and his hooves felt heavier than ever. The little marmot squeaked again, a bit louder this time. The sound went straight to Elvin's heart, but his fear was like a heavy blanket. He took a small step back, his instincts telling him to run and hide where it was safe and quiet. The forest, which usually felt like a cozy home, now seemed vast and full of judging eyes. The tall trees looked like giants staring down at him. The whispering leaves sounded like they were gossiping about the shy elk who was too scared to help. His own shadow stretched out long on the path, and it looked wobbly and uncertain, just like he felt inside. He just wanted the feeling to go away, to not be the one who had to make a decision. It felt easier to just turn around and pretend he hadn't seen anything at all. Suddenly, a flash of brilliant blue zipped past Elvin's nose. It was Jasper, the blue jay. Jasper had seen the whole situation from his perch high in an oak tree. He was not one to keep quiet when something was wrong. Squawk! Help! Little one is stuck! Squawk! He cried out, his voice echoing through the trees. He swooped down and landed on a branch right above the trapped marmot, flapping his wings and calling out for everyone to see. Jasper's loud calls cut through the quiet forest air. Now, everyone knew. The squirrels stopped their chattering, the rabbits popped their heads up higher, and even a deer grazing nearby looked over. Elvin's heart jumped into his throat. He couldn't hide now. Jasper had made sure of that. He felt a blush of warmth spread across his furry cheeks. As Jasper's calls continued, a great shadow passed over the forest floor. Elvin looked up, and his breath caught in his chest. Soaring high above the treetops was the magnificent eagle, Orion. Orion was the wise guardian of the forest. He circled slowly, his sharp eyes taking in everything below. He didn't make a sound. He just watched with a calm and powerful presence. Zor, the scared elk, the noisy blue jay, and the trapped little marmot. His gaze was not judgmental or angry. It was steady and knowing. It was as if he understood Elvin's fear, but also saw the goodness in his heart. Orion's silent strength seemed to send a message down to Elvin, a message without words that said, "You know what is right. You can do this." Seeing the wise eagle, hearing the blue jay's call, and looking at the poor little marmot, something inside Elvin shifted. He took a deep breath. The thump-thump of his heart was still there, but now it felt different. It wasn't just fear anymore. It was a beat of determination. He thought about how scared the little marmot must be. He thought about how good it would feel to help. He decided he was more tired of being afraid than he was of being scared to act. Slowly, deliberately, he lifted one hoof, and then another. He started walking forward, towards the pile of rocks. Each step felt heavy, but also firm. Tick. He kept his eyes on the little marmot, focusing on what he needed to do, trying to block out all the worried thoughts. He reached the rocks and knelt down carefully, trying not to make any sudden movements that might frighten the marmot. "It's okay," Elvin whispered, his voice soft and gentle. "I'm here to help you." The little marmot looked up at him with big, teary eyes, but he stopped wiggling. Elvin lowered his head and used his strong, yet gentle, nose to nudge one of the rocks. It was heavier than it looked. He pushed again, a little harder this time. The rock shifted, just a tiny bit. He took another breath and gave one more careful, steady push. With a soft scrape, the rock rolled aside, and the little marmot's foot was free. Elvin moved with a slowness and care he didn't know he possessed. The moment he was free, the little marmot scampered away from the rocks and then turned back. He wiggled his nose and gave Elvin the biggest, most grateful smile an elk had ever seen. He let out a happy little squeak, a sound completely different from his earlier cries of distress. It was a sound of pure joy and relief. The smile was so bright and happy that it seemed to light up the little clearing. Elvin felt a warmth spread through his chest that had nothing to do with being embarrassed. It was a warm, wonderful feeling, like sunshine filling him up from the inside out. He had done it. He had helped. From the bushes and trees, the other animals had been watching the whole thing. As the marmot chirped happily, a soft murmur went through the crowd. Slabit! The rabbits thumped their back feet on the ground in approval. The squirrels chattered excitedly, but this time it sounded like cheering. The deer who had been watching nodded her head in respect. They weren't looking at a shy, scared elk anymore. They were looking at a hero. Their faces were filled with relief for the little marmot and a quiet pride for Elvin. They saw that he had faced his fear to do something kind, and that was something they all admired. Elvin looked around at the other animals, and for the first time, he didn't feel the urge to hide. Stood up straight, his legs feeling strong and steady beneath him. He lifted his head high, just like Gloria the goat. The fear that had been his constant companion was gone. In its place was a quiet confidence. He wasn't the same elk who had been trembling on the path just a few minutes ago. He was Elvin, the elk who was brave enough to help someone in need. A small, proud smile touched his own lips as he looked at the happy little marmot. As the sun began to set, casting long, peaceful shadows through the woods, a sense of calm settled over the forest. Elvin found a comfortable spot to rest under a large oak tree. Soon the little marmot came and curled up near his hooves. Then, a few of the rabbits hopped over and settled nearby. Even Gloria, the confident mountain goat, came and lay down a short distance away, giving Elvin a respectful nod. They all rested together in the quiet twilight, a new feeling of friendship and community in the air. Elvin closed his eyes, no longer feeling alone or afraid, but feeling like he was exactly where he was meant to be, surrounded by friends in his beautiful forest home. Too, he had learned a very important lesson that day. Moral: courage means doing the right thing, even when you are afraid.